I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. CPAC is the cult political action committee, the cult of Donald Trump. It is currently taking place right now, and it is more deranged and bizarre and fascistic than ever. Last year, the featured guest was Viktor Orban, the far-right fascist-leaning prime minister of Hungary. This year, the lead guest is Jair Bolsonaro, the former president, right-wing fascistic president of Brazil. We should start off by showing you what took place in the lobby before CPAC commenced. And in the lobby, you have a man who is getting cheered on by bragging that he is a January 6th political prisoner. Play this clip.
I was a January 6th political prisoner. I got out in October. This is the first time I was able to, thank you guys. Right. It's the first time I was allowed to travel since January 6th, and I thought, what's a better place to come to than CPAC? So
CPAC 2023 then began with Matt Schlapp, who's the head of the organization, who just was sued by a male Republican campaign staffer for Herschel Walker, who accused Matt Schlapp of sexually assaulting the staffer by grabbing his genitals in a automobile. And Schlapp begins by describing that Jim Jordan, who's on stage, is possibly the most powerful man in Washington, D.C. Play the clip.
There's a lot of chatter in the media about who's here and not here. I'm really proud to be standing alongside someone I think might just be the most powerful man in Washington, D.C.
And one of the things is that even like Ron DeSantis and Mike Pence and Ronna McDaniel and some others, and Mitch McConnell, like others, didn't show up because they know they will now get booed at CPAC, which is the cult political action committee of Donald Trump. And when you see this cult behavior, some of the most bizarre speakers, some of the most bizarre things that are just taking place here. Like, I'll give you this example. So here's MAGA Republican Scott Perry, who's also under criminal investigation for his role during the insurrection. And here he is ranting about vaccines and gas stoves, spreading disinformation, and then says he wants to, quote, create a firestorm so leftists are quaking in fear and losing weight. Play this clip.
That you can't buy a gas stove, but that you must buy an electric vehicle. That you can't go to work, but you must put some experimental potion in your arm and then keep showing up to do that, to visit your church or worship. Our personal sovereignty is what this nation was built on, and it's the foundation. It is under assault by every single facet of the government, and as Ralph has said, we are going to create a firestorm. Look, if it's up to me, there's going to be a firestorm. These leftists, these Marxists that have prevailed upon the American people and used the awesome power of the federal government to cow us into fear in our homes, they've got to be put on notice. They've got to be quaking in fear. They've got to be worried. They've got to be losing weight because they're not eating, because they're worried that they're going to end up going to jail for using the awesome power of the federal government. And if they're not interested in showing up in Mr. Jordan's hearing, you know what? I'm in charge now on the Transportation Committee of Federal Leases. Isn't that something? I wonder whose leases might be coming. Well, we're taking a look at the list. It's going to be awesome when they go from a big building to about, I don't know, that space on the square there, Todd. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
I love it.
Like, we got a fight on every corner, ladies and gentlemen.
Now I'll show you a clip of MAGA Republican Senator Kennedy from Louisiana saying that Americans don't deserve to be governed by deeply weird people, and he's referring to pro-democracy people as deeply weird. Play this clip.
Americans do not deserve to be governed by deeply weird, narcissistically woke people who hate George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Dr. Zeus, and Mr. Potato Head.
Now here's a clip of another speaker. This is MAGA Republican J.D. Vance. You know J.D. Vance, who, when the Chinese spy balloon was detected by the Biden administration, recall the Trump administration didn't even have the technology to detect Chinese spy balloons, so multiple Chinese spy balloons went over the United States in the Trump administration, in the same way the Trump administration's like, we don't want to test because that's how we get the results. They also don't want to have any national security infrastructure to detect the Chinese spy balloons, so when President Biden detected it, stopped it, neutralized it right away. J.D. Vance was pointing the gun, the assault weapon, up in the sky like that was going to do anything but potentially kill people on the ground when the bullets fall down. But here is J.D. Vance complaining about how hospitals took precautions, for example, when his wife had COVID. Play the clip.
My wife gets COVID, and for me, it was like a mild cold. For her, she got actually pretty sick, which maybe has something to do with the fact she was 39 weeks pregnant. 9 days afterwards, she starts going into labor, and we called the hospital, and they said, try to wait another few hours, because if you come in now, you're going to have to wear the full mask, body gear setup, complete quarantine. Your husband can't be in the room with you, but if you wait a few hours, then you've reached the quarantine period. This was in December of 2021. So we ruined, all of us have a crazy COVID story. I think mine is better than most. In other words, there were a lot of people, of course, who were prevented seeing loved ones in their final moments, and that is heartbreaking. But the failure to be honest about this virus with the American people ruined a lot of lives.
This is how the speakers are introduced. This is the intro to a segment where Tommy Tuberville, the senator, MAGA Republican senator of Alabama, speaks, and here they call it Sacking the Woke Playbook. Play this clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, up next, Sacking the Woke Playbook. Please welcome, from Alabama, Senator Tommy Tuberville.
This is the stuff that they're talking about. It's so bizarre. And here is the MAGA Republican Senator Tuberville again talking about woke and CRT and all these words that they just make up. Play the clip.
And I want them to have what we've had the opportunity to have, but today they're being indoctrinated in education. All this woke, transgender athletes, CRT, 1619. We don't teach reading, writing, and arithmetic anymore.
Now to MAGA Republican Mark Green. He is doing this fear-mongering routine, just scientifically false information, just spreading disinformation. This is the fake fentanyl story where they say about people just picking up dollar bills and dying because they're picking up dollar bills, which absolutely can't happen. But play the clip.
Every American in our country is at risk for this. You pick up a dollar that's got fentanyl on it and you're dead.
Now I want to show you a clip of a MAGA influencer, Tom Homan. Homan's a former cop who served during the Trump administration as the acting director of ICE. Remember, everyone in the Trump administration was acting because he never legally confirmed anybody. Just didn't go through the process, so everybody was acting. And here Tom Homan says he doesn't care. Homan says he doesn't give a shit about families being separated at the border. Play the clip.
And I'm sick and tired of hearing about the family separation. And I'm still being sued over that, so come get me. I don't give a shit, right? Bottom line is, we enforce the law. American families, when I was a cop in New York and I arrest a father for domestic violence or someone for DUI, I separate that family. When you violate the law with a child, you're going to be separated. But you're right. 250,000 children have crossed this border since Joe Biden's been president. They chose to separate themselves. And the children aren't always children.
Here is Rick Scott, I suppose, trying to tell a joke. Play the clip.
Everybody in Washington said I'm nuts. I might be. But we cannot put up with this BS anymore.
Here's MAGA Republican Senator Rick Scott from Florida, also saying we're destroying the country we love. Play the clip.
So welcome to America in the year 2023, where we are destroying the country we love. That's what's happening right here in America. We are destroying the country we love. Now, to be clear, it's not you, it's not me. We're not destroying our country. It's the President of the United States who's destroying our country. It's the U.S. Senate that is destroying our country. It's the news media. It's the Democrat Party, academia, Hollywood, Wall Street, and many of our big corporations that are absolutely destroying the country we love.
Just so you can see a photograph of the audience, like it's not really well attended, to say the least. And now you just go to their panels that they would have. So in their panels that they would do, they would just say like a word, like, so they would say, All right, I'm going to say a word. I want you to react. Bathrooms. Here, play the clip.
Yep. Let me ask you, Ian, bathrooms. I'm just say that one word.
Bathrooms.
I'm going to let you just go.
And so I suppose that when they say that word, that's supposed to trigger like a anti-trans rhetoric, and that's what bathrooms, because these MAGA Republicans just want to talk about bathrooms all the time, and pronouns and woke and potato head and Skittles and M&Ms or whatever the hell they're talking about. Oh, here, speaking of which, here's another clip where one of the speakers is saying that, has anybody watched the Academy Awards or the Super Bowl? Play this clip.
Has anybody watched the Academy Awards or Super Bowl halftime lately? Or did you keep your children away from it because it was beneath dignity? It was not what God had in mind when he created us in his image.
So there you have it. That's what's gone on in CPAC so far. I'm sure each and every day we will be adding to that list and be showing you more videos. But look, why am I showing you these clips? The reason I'm showing you these clips is because these MAGA Republican cultists are living in an alternate reality, right? I mean, the issues that they are talking about aren't really issues. They're fabricated outrage machine things to just inspire fear and hate and division. You know, as I said recently on a MeidasTouch podcast that I did, I don't wake up in the morning thinking about Mr. Potato Head and pronouns and woke and Disney characters making me upset. I don't wake up thinking about the green M&M or the purple M&M or Dr. Seuss or gas stoves or that's just, I wake up thinking about jobs, healthcare, education, accessibility to healthcare, affordability of healthcare, making sure people can get good paying jobs, our national security, protecting our democracy, protecting democracies abroad, supporting our allies, equality, freedom, making sure a woman can control her body, keeping the government out of criminalizing a woman's control over her body, keeping the government out of and criminalizing the right of LGBTQ plus individuals to marry who they love. Those are the kinds of issues that I think about. Protecting our veterans, making sure our veterans get access to great care, protecting our seniors. Those are the types of issues that I think about, not potato head, woke, bathroom. That outrage machine needs to be called out on the MAGA Republican side. And you see it here. It's an alternate reality that they are living in, a sad, unfortunate, alternate reality. But it's time that we make it clear that pro-democracy, we have made it clear, but stand up. Pro-democracy is going to stand up to all of this hate, to this disinformation. Maybe once upon a time we were the exhausted majority, but we're exhausted no more. We're going to make sure that we do what's right for our country. We're going to call out all this disinformation. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to your incredible support. So hit subscribe right now. In addition to hitting subscribe, check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. I think you'll enjoy the content that we have at Patreon. Also, check out the MeidasTouch podcast by searching MeidasTouch podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Again, hit subscribe because we're on our way to 1 million subscribers. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network.
Love this video? Then you'll love the MeidasTouch podcast. Listen as my brothers and I break down the latest news and chat with top political leaders on the fastest growing pro-democracy podcast in the world. New episodes drop every Tuesday and Friday. Add the MeidasTouch podcast right now wherever you listen to your podcasts.